UFC 296 is going down today in just a few hours, and I figured before that happens, let's go make a few fight predictions, and we're going to do that through Fight Week in UFC 5. You go into Fight Week, and we're going to be able to predict a lot of these matches, and then depending on how accurate our predictions are, we're going to win some prizes. So right there it says, making fight picks. Predict the results of each fight before the event. Earn points for making correct picks. Win coins based on the amount of points you earn. The players with the top score on each community leaderboard wins bonus coins. So the first fight right here that we have an option to pick is Vicente Luque versus Ian Gary. But of course, as we know, that fight is no longer happening because Ian Gary pulled out of the fight. He's sick. He has pneumonia. Well, he had flu that turned into pneumonia. So now he's not able to fight. So we're gonna skip that. If this fight was happening, I would have definitely gone with Ian Gary, and I would have gone with a knockout in the second round. That's what I would have gone with. But since the fight is not happening, you know, we're just gonna we'll leave it at that. Next one is gonna be El Cucuy, Tony Ferguson versus Paddy Pimblett. Tony Ferguson, if you take a look at the matches right here, you can see Tony Ferguson is 6 fights losing streak. Well, this is showing the last 5 fights, but Tony has lost the last 6 fights that he's had. And of course, in comparison to Paddy Pimblett, who's won his last 6 fights, the competition is completely different, right? Tony Ferguson is losing to elite competition. He's losing the guys like Justin Gaethje, Charles Oliveira, Beneil Dariush, Michael Chandler, and then Nate Diaz, Bobby Green. Meanwhile, Paddy Pimblett, you know, he's defeating guys like Decky Dalton, David Martinez, Luigi, Rodrigo Vargas, Jordan Levitt, and Jared Gordon. A lot of these guys, some of you probably don't even know who they are. So the level of competition drastically different. Tony losing to really, really high level competition. Paddy beating a lot of people, but you know, in terms of competition, you can't really compare the two. So now they are on a collision course, and there are some similarities to these guys' styles in terms of their grappling, but when it comes to their temperament, when it comes to their striking, when it comes to their approach to fighting in general, they could not be more different. And the biggest question mark around this particular fight, of course, is Tony Ferguson training with David Goggins. How is that going to affect him? Is that going to affect him negatively, or is that going to affect him positively going into this match? Are we going to see a resurgence in Tony, or are we going to see a overtrained Tony Ferguson lose to a guy that, realistically speaking, on paper, he really should not be losing to? Like, Tony Ferguson should not be losing to Paddy Pimblett. For this fight, I am, as unlikely as it might seem, I'm actually going to go with Tony Ferguson. I don't think Tony is going to go out there and lose to Paddy Pimblett. I think even though this is all about skill, right? And Tony probably has not spent as much time as he needs to focusing on skill for this fight. I think the skills he does possess is going to be enough to overcome the skills that Paddy Pimblett possesses. So I'm going to go with Tony Ferguson. I'm going to go with a TKO or a KO round 3. That's what I'm going to go with. All right. And moving on is Shavkat Rockmanov versus Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. This is a really, really interesting match. It really is. And what's going to make this fight interesting is going to depend on what style Shavkat Rockmanov takes into this fight. Now, Rockmanov is a guy that can do it all. He's a good striker. He's a good grappler. But when you're dealing with a specialist like Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, it is probably a best idea to stay away from what he is special at, right? When you're dealing with a specialist, this is what they do. It's their bread and butter. It's their A game. It's probably wise to stay away from that A game. Now, Rockmanov does a very good job of crashing in when opponents are trying to rush in with blitz and attacks. He crashes in, gets into the clinch, uses the single unders, Muay Thai plum, over unders, He does a very good job of using trip kazushis off balance to lead into knees to the body, uppercuts to the head. He can pin you against the cage and hold you there for long periods of time. And he also uses the clinch to find takedowns. His grappling is good, and I think against Wonderboy, based on what Wonderboy does very, very well, it might be the best idea to turn this more towards grappling as opposed to trying to test himself against Stephen Thompson. Wonderboy has been in there with some of the best strikers the UFC has to offer, and he's defeated a lot of them. He's very, very good against shorter opponents, and he's also very, very good against longer opponents that are even taller than him. He has multiple ways of entering the pocket. His stutter step into the cross, very, very good. When you go to close the distance on him, he's got a very, very potent front leg side kick to the body. He does a very good job of switching stances depending on where you are in the octagon. His cross down the pipe from his southpaw stance is absolutely fucking brutal, and not to mention he does a very good job of hiding his high kicks from both stances. He hides them really well with the cross, he hides them really well with stutter steps, and he's also very, very, very defensively sound. He is not an easy guy to hit. Meanwhile, Shavkat Rakhmonov can sometimes be a bit lazy with his defense, right? He doesn't move his head as often as he possibly should, and when he does start moving his head, he has a tendency of dropping his hands, backing up in a straight line, and trying to move his head. Against someone like Stephen Thompson, who's very accurate, who has a keen eye for those shots, it might not be the best idea to do that. And although Stephen Thompson is not known for being like a brain-shattering power striker, he has the power to put you down. We've seen him do that multiple times against opponents. His knockdown of Jorge Masvidal still comes to mind. Finishing Robert Whittaker in the welterweight division still comes to mind. So this is going to be a very interesting fight regardless of where it goes, and I'm so curious to see what approach Shavkat Rakhmonov is going to take with this one. All that said, though, I think if everything goes to plan, I have Shavkat Rakhmonov winning this fight. He has the momentum right now. As you can see, he has won his past 5 fights. Meanwhile, Stephen Thompson has won his 3 fights out of his last 5. So I'm gonna go Shavkat Rakhmonov. I'm gonna go decision. I suspect he's gonna turn this into a grindy style grappling match where he's gonna pin Stephen Thompson against the cage multiple times. He'll take him down a few times, and no, I don't think this will be fight of the night either. So I'm sticking with Shavkat Rakhmonov decision. It's gonna be a grindy fight, and I think he's gonna win by decision. Next up is going to be Pantoja, right, versus Brandon Royval. Alexandre Pantoja versus Brandon Royval. Now, these two guys have fought before, right? They fought before, and the fight ended in submission in round 2 with Pantoja submitting Brandon Royval. And what worries me, if you're a fan of Royval, is his pace, right? And when I say pace, I don't mean that, you know, what I mean by that is this dude fights at a freaking ridiculous pace. He does not know how to slow things down at all. The moment the referee says go, he goes. And against someone like Pantoja, who one is probably the most durable fighter you're going to find in that weight class. They've all tried to stop this guy. They've not been able to. Davison Figueiredo was able to knock him down. I believe Davison is the only one that was able to knock him down in flyweight history, and even he wasn't able to finish him. Like, it took the most powerful flyweight in the flyweight history to knock him down, and even he still wasn't able to get him out of there. And Brandon Royval is someone that when he's fighting you, he really, really tries to be a finisher. And he has a high finishing rate. He does. So I think that's not going to change. It is ingrained in him. It is what he does. He's going to try everything in his power to finish this fight, and I don't think that finish is going to come. And because of how aggressive he is, I see Pantoja being able to take him down. I mean, he was able to take him down, what, 3 times the first time they fought? In the 2 rounds they fought? and ended up taking his back and submitting him with a rear naked choke. So I see something similar happening again. I think Royval is going to be overly aggressive. Pantoja is going to be able to tank a lot of those shots. He's extremely durable, and he has the grappling and jiu-jitsu edge. The difference between them when it comes to jiu-jitsu is significant. When the fight hits the mat, it is very, very apparent who has the advantage there, and I think that advantage is going to remain. Pantoja, I am going with Pantoja submission in round number 2. Again, I will stick with that. I think he's going to get him down, and I think in round number 2, he's going to submit him again. I don't think this is going to be fight of the night either, so I'm going to confirm the pick. And here we have it, the main event of the evening. Leon Edwards versus Colby Covington, all right? This is the fight that I think has the potential to be fight of the night. One, because of the stakes. Out of every single person fighting here, they dislike each other the most, and that really adds to it. It's not going to make you better in the sense that if you don't have the skills, you're not all of a sudden going to become a world beater just because you're more pissed off at the guy. But there is something to be said about motivation. The more motivated you are, right, the more likely you are to say, fuck no, I am not losing this fight no matter what. I'm not losing to that guy, right? There's some people where it's like, if I lose to him, like, it's okay. He's a good guy. He's a good dude. And then there's some other people where you're like, I would rather die in this cage. I am not losing to that guy. And I think with Leon Edwards, that's his mentality going into this fight against Colby Covington. We saw what happened at that goddamn press conference. Colby said some nasty stuff to him, and it got under his skin. Clearly it did. And, you know, who can blame him? But that's exactly what Colby was trying to do. He was trying to rile him up, trying to get under his skin, as also trying to sell the fight, which I think he achieved both. But I think that's going to manifest itself in a highly competitive match. I think both of them are very good at what the other also does. This is not going to be a striker versus grappler match. No. Colby can strike, Leon Edwards can grapple. Leon has done a tremendous job at improving his grappling skills because that used to be a weakness. And he looked at his whole entire game, identified an area where he has a weakness, and he said to himself, I'm going to plug this hole. And he did. And not only has he improved his takedown defense, but he's also turned himself into someone that you have to worry about getting taken down by. Doesn't matter who this man is in there with, whether he's fighting Gunnar Nelson, who's known for having incredible jiu-jitsu, or he's in there with Kamaru Usman, a man who's known for having the highest takedown defense in UFC history before he fought Leon Edwards. He will try to take you down. He does not give a shit. He will try to take you down, and he will do it with a double. He'll do it with a single. He'll do it against the cage. He'll do it in the clinch. Doesn't matter. He'll try to take you down. And if this guy can take down Kamaru Usman, I have no doubt in my mind that he can also put Colby Covington down. But that also means that Colby Covington will be fighting Leon Edwards in a space that he is extremely comfortable with, because Leon will not run away from that. So it's a double-edged sword, right? On one hand, it's very difficult to fight a man who's running. It's really tough to fight a man who's trying to avoid the fight. You're trying to drag him down, and he's doing every single thing in his power to not let you even get close. But if he accepts that, if he welcomes that, if he welcomes your world, it can be easy for you to play the game that you've been playing since you were a kid. Wrestling is what Colby Covington does. It's his bread and butter. It's what he's done for years and years and years of his life. It's what he does best. And I think when it comes to grappling in this fight, I think the advantage has to go to Colby Covington. Colby also has the advantage in terms of pacing. He has the advantage in terms of his cardio. The man can go all day long, and he's gone 5 rounds multiple times with Usman. Even though he's lost, all that experience counts for something. And there's also the fact that he has not been active, which on one side could be a detriment to you when you're not active. On the other side, it could be a major plus because you're giving your body enough time to recoup and recover and be rejuvenated going into this fight. So how do I think this fight plays out? I think this is going to be a long long fight. I think it's going to go 5 rounds. I think both of them are going to test each other in every single dimension of fighting, striking, grappling, all of the above. There's going to be mental warfare going on. There'll be trash talking. There'll probably be appeals to the referee. There's going to be all kinds of shenanigans in this fight. At some point, somebody is getting knocked down. At some point, somebody is bleeding. Somebody is getting taken down. Somebody is getting ground and pounded. Somebody is fighting up a submission. We will see it all in this fight. They will both bring their A game, and I think it is going to make for fight of the night, in my opinion. All that said, though, I will be going with Leon Edwards in this one, and this one's tough. This one's tough because I can see a situation where Colby Covington essentially overwhelms Leon Edwards. That is a possibility. Make no mistake about it. I see that happening. I see him just taking him down over and over again because Colby has a style of wrestling that is different from Kamaru Usman. Colby is more relentless with his wrestling than Usman is. He'll shoot and shoot and shoot and shoot. And Leon, he's kind of a point fighter a little bit. He's not really known for having brain-shattering power, even though he can put you away. But he kind of likes to move around and be technical and be pretty with his striking. And I don't know if that's the right approach against Colby. I really don't know. I think with Colby, you got to be able to fight him dirty. You got to be able to get down right and dirty and just get in the mud with him. And I don't know if Leon is going to be willing to do that. Wait, what did I say? Did I say Edwards? No, I meant Colby Covington. I'm gonna go with Colby Covington by decision to win this fight, as painful as that is for me to say, because I'm a fan of Leon Edwards. I like Colby as well, you know what I mean? But between both of them, I obviously like Leon Edwards more, and I've been rooting for Leon Edwards for a very long time. Even when everybody was shitting all over him, clowning him, I was rooting for this man, and I'll be rooting for him tonight as well. But I think the matchup here, the style of fighting, I think Colby might be able to get him. I really think so. Hopefully he switches things up, fights at a faster pace. Hopefully he's coming into this one in extreme shape. He's going to need that against Colby because he's going to have to be on point for 5 rounds, grinding for 5 rounds. He's got to try to take down Colby Covington, pin him, mount him, look for submissions. It's got to be do to Colby what Colby is going to try to do to you. It's got to be that kind of fight. And I just don't know if there's any man in the welterweight division not named Hamzat Chimaev that could potentially do that. You see what I'm saying? But I will leave it at that. I'm going to go with Colby Covington decision. And yes, I do think this will be fight of the night. If you guys enjoyed this fight prediction right here, leave a like on the video. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know who you guys are picking to win all these matches. And I will see you guys back here after the fights. As always, a fight prediction is nothing but an educated guess. We don't see the fucking future here, all right? So if I get all of this wrong, stop it. Cut me some damn slack, okay? We're just having fun making educated guesses. Of course, none of us know what's going to happen here. So let's just see if we at least get one of these correct. And I'll see you guys back here later tonight to review these matches. Thank you for watching. You guys are amazing. See you guys later. Peace out. Have a good one.